with employees or customers or both, we will always be running into various pain points and we want to come up with a solution. So what we want to talk about here are these 3 columns where we would be able to just quickly get onto a computer screen. If you've attended any of these webinars previous weeks, you've seen a lot of that. Make it non-frustrating. It can be confusing for someone who's non-tech savvy or for someone who's just flustered by messages they don't understand on their screens. So we want to give you quick and easy ways to get onto their screen, explain what you're doing, and perhaps work behind the scenes if needed to resolve the issue. So our solutions are going to be these quick shortcuts that we're going to go through and spend some time with today, really efficient ways to get data across and understand solutions and fix problems. And the value drivers are going to be able to have a shorter time to resolution. We're going to be able to provide greater customer satisfaction because it's a simple, non-painful process when you use a tool that has everything right at your hands. Okay. So what I'll do is bring you over to my screen here, and we'll talk through a little bit of what it's like to go through these sessions. What I have on the left-hand side of my screen is the rescue console. So as a technician, I'm already logged in, and as you can see here, I'm already in a session. On the right-hand side is the session screen of the end user, whether this be an internal or external customer or employee. So we can see a bit of a comparison. So on the left-hand side here, as a technician, I have my screen in place where I'm working on their desktop and understanding and seeing what the issue is. I have my quick shortcuts that you've seen some in use over the previous weeks. But some of the first things that I can do is if I want to look at this full screen, I can. If I want to configure the view settings, I can change the color quality because maybe they're in an area where they have low bandwidth. So I might want to make this very low, black and white for dial-up connections, or maybe medium quality, or the better color reproducing if we want to look at more graphical details. So I have it kind of on auto, on low. I just want the fastest response time for me. Doesn't matter how clear it is in terms of the visuals that I'm seeing. I just want to be able to get on and understand the problem. But we also have this option where we can limit the remote CPU utilization and go as low bandwidth as possible. So when you're in these sessions, make sure you check this drop down, and that's going to allow you to do that live toggling. Now, if you don't do that live toggling, we do some of that behind the scenes automatically for you. We're going to try to keep things as low bandwidth as possible as you're in session, but these can help you when you're really running into places where they have restrictions in terms of the bandwidth they have available. The other piece that's going to be here are some quick ways to get to information. So let's say that I'm on your screen troubleshooting. I want to understand exactly what processes or services are running. Yes, I can pull them in some areas that you've seen before on these tabs, but I can also just click on this icon and get to Task Manager. So in Task Manager, you could get to services that are running. You can scroll down and even get into any kind of advanced settings that you'd want to if you get into details on the services and begin working with what you need to here. So we have a quick view always to get to what we would call Task Manager rather than having to issue that Alt-Control-Delete over and manipulating it there. The keyboard layout, so we can work locally or remote with the keyboards here. We also have a clipboard. I can turn on the clipboard so that I could copy and paste between machines. I even have the whiteboard where I'd be able to annotate. So with the end users at their desk and you're working with them, we want to get their attention to the right area. So I can say, hey, this is what you need to look at next time I'm on your system. That's going to come in color on their end. It just kind of grays out as I toggle between these machines. But you get the idea here that it's very obvious what I'm pointing to you. So annotation is super helpful. If you don't want to be using annotation, we have just the spotlight that could get your eye to the right area too. all these little tools that are at the top of the screen that you may not have clicked on or noticed before. The other thing that's here is we have the recordings that could take place. If we wanted to make sure we referred back to this later, we just simply start the recording, let that process, we can view it later, or if we're done recording the piece we want to, we can go ahead and turn that off also. Also, we have a quick screen capture, so we could really understand what the issue is and come back and compare it. Okay, so don't discount these quick icons that we have. They really are there to help you understand what's happening on a person's system. Okay, so let me come out of this mode of the spotlight here. I think I just also clicked on the magnifier, which is an option that you have as well. Now, we always have ways to launch into things like File Manager, collect the system information, everything that we would need at hand. But an often underutilized or overlooked area here is over here in the chat area. This is going to be the place where we would come in and we can send files. So you would know I'm sending a file, unlike the other file manager where we're kind of going behind the scenes and sending things back and forth that way. This is going to give us a way to grab a file and send it over to the end user, and they're going to see it come in. The other piece that we would have is the ability to send a quick URL. Say I want to send this go-to site because it's something I refer to often. As you see, it's just going to open up on the end user's screen, and it's going to be easy for me to access and get to from the customer screen at any point. Now, when we look at these, I'll show you how we configure all of these and set it up. But we also have the text that's available rather than just URLs. So if there are steps that I'm used to sending over, I might have those already written and ready to go, and I can just evoke those, and the steps are immediately pushed over to that end user. As I'm working on their screen, and let's make this a little full screen at the moment so we can look at this more closely, and I want to manage something like the scripts, it's really easy. You can see I have one called defrag here. But as I wanted to go in and maybe just send something that would go through and grab a MAC address or what have you, I have an option to come into Add New. I can give this script a name. So let's just say that this is going to be something that I would want to do to get the MAC address. And I would now need to go ahead and open a script file. So I have to have one ready and available and push it out. So where do we get a script file? What are those? That's a common question. Well, what we can do is show you where we have some information related to those available. And here we have a user guide that I'm going to go ahead and we'll push out to you in the chat so everyone can grab that. And let me go ahead and do that now so you can look at this later. It really has everything you'd ever want to know about using the Technician Console, and that's been pushed out in the webinar link. But this walks you through kind of the setting up of the scripts that we're going through right now. But the one thing that it has in here is a link to our community. So this go-to community is going to be a great place where our end users, all of our customers, are sharing information. So if you've not been to the community, we highly recommend it. You can see I've brought us right over to a place where it talks about that script repository. People are sharing their scripts out here. So it talks about how to do this. I can take one of these examples. So I have this MAC address pull that we were looking at. I'll go ahead and just save this link as a text file so I can refer to this later. And I'll just get a text extension on it. We can also rename it to command later, so you can see that it's listed out here. Now what I'll be able to do is come back in and add it to that scripting area. So let me go ahead and put this link also into the chat of our event so everyone can grab this. And that's the second link to this community forum. There's more than just scripting out here, by the way, but we're just using this in that example to make sure you're aware that this is a resource for you. Now, if I come back in to the Technician Console, this is a place where I can go out and find the script file. I had just downloaded that one. I'll go ahead and use that. I can put a resource file in place here. We could say what platforms it's for. Maybe it's for Windows or Mac specifically, or we want it to execute when the applet starts. I'll go ahead and save that. And now I have something available that I would be able to select when I'm in that script execution area. So this is what it looks like in terms of adding, importing, exporting, reading, or managing the script area here. We can do the same thing with the predefined replies. We saw that I had put those important steps to follow in. And if we look at that, those are just a place where I itemized out what I wanted to share. So when we want to add a predefined reply, let's say that this is going to be a closing greeting or whatever it might be. I think that's a little a bit of an oxymoron, but we'll put that in here and we'll just say, thank you for your time today, and you do want to follow up, whatever it might be. We'll be able to save that, and we have the closing greeting available that we would be able to share. So we've done a script, we've done a reply. The URLs are going to be done the same way. I'll be able to come in and add a new predefined URL. So this is a place where we could point you to a search engine, or maybe I want to say, hey, whoops, I typed this in the wrong area. I'm going to put this into the content. This is going to be our community sharing. And I'll go ahead and save that. And now it's going to be something that I can push out right here on the left-hand bottom side where we're having chat, and we have the whole history of the session that's taking place, but now those are going to be there for me to use. So I'll go ahead and select this. Here's the community sharing. It's the kind of thing that I could send right over. You see it gets pushed over. If we go back to Joe's screen, we'll see that it's opening it up on his end. It's a very simple and easy way to get information across. Joe doesn't have to type in a long URL or find it from copy and paste. It's just been sent to them. And then on the as far as the audit trail is concerned, when we're looking at what's taking place, this session was started with a calling card. So it's got the nice branding in place, but it could have been started in any method and you'd be still in the Go to Resolve app window here where it's showing the chat. There will be the history of everything we've sent over. So it's the kind of thing that could be referred back to later. So don't miss the keys here for quick chat sending, quick URLs that we have. When we are ready to go into more complex type of issues that require more than sending steps and URLs or scripts across, we would have the ability just to come back into the tab of the customer screen. And from here, we would, again, make sure we have all the information we need about this user at hand, every service, every application, so we know what we need to troubleshoot. Here's where we would issue those reboot reconnects. Maybe you want a safe mode with networking so that you could just eliminate anything else out that's causing a problem. It's really easy just to select this and push it out and get back into session. But the other piece that comes into play is unattended access. So if I'm in this live session with you, but you're very busy, it's turning out that it's going to take a long time for us to resolve this issue, I'll be able to set up unattended access. Now, when I do this, I can say, hey, it's going to be available for a certain amount of days, maybe indefinitely. I always want to get out to it. But if I say I want this to be available for one day, it's going to go ahead and ask for permission to activate unattended access. So come back to the customer's machine. This is what they're getting prompted with. So until Friday at 9 in the morning, I would like to have unattended access. So it's very easy. They've clicked yes, and now they get the details letting them know that we will be able to connect in when they are not there. Here are the details. They can revoke it at any time if they want to. So they will be fully aware that that is something that's going to take place. They will see it running in their system tray and be able to access or revoke that at any time. So the idea behind Rescue is that we know we want to quickly get in and be efficient and resolve these complex issues. But some of these very simple tools make it easier. Annotation is not in every support tool that's out there today. So the fact that we could draw on their screen, as well as just manually redirect them when we're typing through, it goes quite a long way. The other features that we have in here to help us be more efficient would be reaching out to our teams too. So if you have more than one license, we're also going to have the ability to come up and invite another technician into session. So we can multi-collaborate. I could invite an entire group of people in, and whoever's available could come in and join. I can set what permissions they're going to have during this session. Maybe I only want them to view and never send files or do any of these other more complex features. But this is a great way that I can invite them in, or perhaps set up an external partner that might come in and need to work with me. If we find that collaboration isn't the way to go and we really just need to transfer it over to a different group, we also have that option. So we're going to have transfer session. We can transfer it to a specific individual or to an entire group. In which case, if it goes to an entire group, people will get prompted. They'll see it come up here in our session queue, this grid that's at the top of the screen, and be able to pick it up at that point. All right, I think we could go on all day with a lot of the quick shortcut here, but hopefully that gives you a great idea of just quick efficiencies built into Rescue.